Ugh, I hate this. Art's just so... It's just so easy. I'm just too good. Though it's gotten really boring. I just wish art was a bit more of a challenge these days. A shooting star. Maybe my wish will come true. Or maybe that's a meteorite about to hit the earth. Oh god, no! Yeah, that seems about right. Huh? Huh? I think I know what I can do. Today I decided to draw with 3 of the weirdest brushes I could find on the Clip Studio Paint Asset Store, and only those brushes. That's right folks, the rules are simple. I've picked 1 brush per illustration, and only that brush will be allowed to touch the canvas, except the lasso tool, and the wand tool, and color correction tools, and the transform tool, and nothing else. Can it be done? Can I make something that looks half decent with a worm on the string brush? Well, you'll have to watch this video to find out. The first brush I decided to use was this pretty cool looking plaid brush, and you may be thinking, oh, sketching's gonna be pretty easy using this brush. And you're right. The sketch was really easy to do in terms of using the brush. The actual sketching process, however, awful. I absolutely hated it. It sucked, it sucked, it sucked. It took me several different attempts until I pulled out the Clip Studio Paint 3D model and everything was smooth sailing from there. I also partially redesigned this character's hair because for some reason I just couldn't draw it from that angle. Also, if you're wondering who this guy is, he's my one and only Catboy OC. His name's Pesto, and I love him. I also want to kick him down the stairs sometimes, though. He's just got that white boy swag. He's just so kickable, you know? Back to the challenge, however, I found the outline process kind of easy. Besides the fact that this brush is semi-transparent, and that made things kind of difficult, it wasn't that bad. Though, everything went downhill once it got to coloring. I had to go over the parts I colored in again and again to remove the transparency, so it just looked really splotchy and ugly. Then when I got to shading, it showed off the pattern in the brush, which I don't think it really works for anything outside of clothing, but it doesn't look completely awful. I guess that's a win for the retrorocks community. Subscribe to be part of the retrorocks community. Overall, I think this illustration looks good, and it would have looked better if I probably used regular brushes, but that wouldn't have made this video happen. So what can you do about it? Gang, I just realized I should have used the pattern for his sweater vest. How did I not think of doing? Oh my god. This second illustration may have fittingly drained my soul away because I hated drawing with this dumb, stupid triangle brush. That's right, for the second drawing, it was a brush that's only triangles. There's different variations of the triangles, but they're just triangles. And fittingly, I drew Mr. Bill Cipher himself, Mr. Triangle Guy, and he ruined my life for about an hour. This brush was so hard to fill anything in, from the outline part to the coloring part. I didn't even bother shading this one, I'll be honest, because I just wanted to get it over with. Brush itself doesn't really fill anything. It always left really awkward, messy looking gaps. I had to go over each section again and again and again, and it just took way too long. I had to utilize the lasso tool several times just to fill anything in properly, because if I didn't use the lasso tool, this thing would just look like a bit of a splotch on a paper, and nobody wants that. Also, I know the background sucks. I couldn't think of anything else, and I just gave up. I'm gonna say it, I lost the challenge on this illustration, because this illustration sucks. I don't think it looks very good. But you know what? 2 out of 3 is a winning score, I think. So what can you do about it? For the third and final drawing, this is the brush you all have been waiting for. That's right, it's the worm on a string brush. Now, this process was very, very interesting to go through, as this brush only has one color, and that color kind of changes depending on how you move the brush. It kind of changes the lighting perspective, which was fascinating, creating something that was kind of three-dimensional using a 2D brush, but also really hard for doing anything basic like coloring and outlining and sketching. And it was really weird. So I had to utilize a lot of different color correction layers to kind of overlay the layer I was working on and make it dark enough to be an outline layer. And while it did work, it was just really time consuming. For the character herself, I decided to create a Medusa-style character, but a bit more silly, a bit more modern, and more importantly, instead of snakes, they're worms on a string. But I guess without the string. But if I just call them worms, I don't think it really encapsulates what they are. But I'm just gonna continue to call them worms on a string, so you know what I'm talking about. The drawing process wasn't too hard though once I got a good enough reference. I actually had a lot of fun sketching and outlining the character, though coloring, once again, was just kind of awkward with having to make so many color correction layers for each individual color I needed. I also really liked making the dumb googly eyes for each worm. I thought that was very silly. And overall, I actually really like how this character came out. I think she looks super cute. And those are the 3 illustrations. Overall, this challenge was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Which drawing's your favorite? And please, like and subscribe. I need to feed my kids at some point.